We have been taught lies. Reality is not at all what we perceive it to be. We cannot survive any longer by hanging on to the falsehoods of the past. Reality must be discerned at all costs if we are to be a part of the future. Truth must prevail in all instances, no matter who it hurts.
In 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified, ending slavery by giving all Americans citizenship. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. United States Code annotated Amendment 14. However, what the public was not told, that while under the Lieber Code, a 14th Amendment citizen can only be found within the jurisdiction of the United States. That is, all government employees, all those who live in territories occupied by the federal government, such as Washington, D.C., and the former slaves. The rest of the population was not subject to the 14th Amendment and thus could still claim jurisdiction under the original Constitution. In addition to that, after the conclusion of the Civil War, the federal government was now occupying the southern states, placing these captured citizens under the jurisdiction of the Lieber Code. The southern states had to agree to ratify this amendment in order for them to be granted their freedom from federal rule. Thus, instead of ending slavery, the 14th Amendment held all Southerners captive as slaves in the plantation known as the United States of America. Just like how all citizens were turned into corporations in 1790 to subject them to the Revolutionary War debts, 14th Amendment citizens were created to be franchisees, subject to the corporation known as the United States Incorporated. And like all corporate brands, you do not have any constitutional Bill of Rights protections. Proof of such can be found in the all-caps version of your name, which signifies a corporate entity.
Given what most Americans believe, the next statement may be more shocking than any previous. The fact is, the United States is not a country, but a corporation contractually created by the Constitution. Your state is a country, per the law, and your original citizenship is of that country. Our founders instituted themselves to be first and foremost citizens of their respective states. As of 1787, those states already had formed a union, and they created the Constitution for the purpose of perfecting that union in forming a national government. They did not intend that the new nation have any jurisdiction or powers over the states or their citizens that were not specifically enumerated in the Constitution. They stated this point quite clearly in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 of the Constitution. They granted the United States exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square as may become the seat of the government of the United States, our District of Columbia, and to exercise authority over all places purchased by the consent of the states. And that is all. The framers further secured the rights of the people with the 9th and 10th Amendments in the Bill of Rights. In the 9th, they established that the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And in the 10th, they made clear that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. The only way the federal government can have any jurisdiction beyond these constitutional clauses is by written permission or contract. Which leads us to another piece of the puzzle, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1868 following the Civil War. As barbaric as it may sound today, The black slaves, prior to the conclusion of the Civil War, were legally considered to be property, with none of the rights or privileges of free-born people, only duties. The money interests took advantage of America's desire to free the slaves and found a way to use the swiftly adopted post-war constitutional amendments to enslave all of the people. The deceit is in the wording of both the 13th and 14th Amendments. You will note that the 13th Amendment provides that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States. But why the emphasis on involuntary servitude? Isn't it the same thing as slavery? Sure it is. But they had to mention the concept of involuntary servitude because they wished to retain another type of slavery, voluntary servitude. Voluntary servitude is an ancient and established concept. It was the way serfs became subjects to their lords during feudal times in England and other European countries. It was a way for free men to earn a living at a time when all property was held by a select few, and thus anyone who wanted to farm and support their family had first to agree to be subject to a lord of the land. Our forefathers hated this concept and designed our Constitution to exclude titles of nobility, making all Americans sovereign. The 14th Amendment turned the intention of the founders on its ear by making voluntary servitude a requirement for former slaves to gain the rights already guaranteed to free-born United States citizens. When the slaves were released from their involuntary servitude following the war, their status was changed from that of being property to that of being a person. But being a person still entitled them to none of the rights associated with citizenship. So the 14th Amendment ostensibly was written to provide the former slaves with the same constitutional rights of free-born American citizens, but only if they agreed first to become subject to the jurisdiction of the corporate United States. Making oneself paramountly, that is, first subject to the jurisdiction of the laws of the United States, however, limits access to parts of the Bill of Rights, as we'll explain in a moment. But first remember, anyone who voluntarily subjects himself to the laws or jurisdiction of another is, in every way, obligated to abide by the terms of any contracts or laws established by whomever establishes the rules of the contract. In simple terms, this meant that the former slaves became subjects first to the United States, and secondly to the state in which they lived. They had no sovereignty whatsoever. This status had never existed in the United States prior to that time. The 14th Amendment created a new class of citizenship in the United States, a second-class citizenship. Up until 1868, every American was a paramount citizen of their state, and by virtue of that, also a citizen of the United States, with full individual sovereignty as guaranteed by Amendments 9 and 10 in the Bill of Rights. But so-called naturalized citizens, or 14th Amendment citizens, are paramountly subject to all laws of the United States, and, having no status as freeborn citizens, have no access at all to the unenumerated rights retained for the people by Articles 9 and 10 of the Bill of Rights. That's because, in order to get any rights at all, they had to subject themselves to the jurisdiction of the corporate United States, which left them no unenumerated rights. The only rights they had were those specifically written into the Constitution. The sad tragedy of America today is that all U.S. citizens, regardless of race, are now 14th Amendment slaves due to contracts with the government of the United States through Social Security, birth certificates, driving licenses, citizenship statements, tax forms, and many other documents. The true paramount citizenship that all Americans deserve is that of their respective state, which is a sovereign citizenship. Such status would exempt them from federal and state income taxes, as well as property and inheritance taxes. This sovereign citizenship was the status held by our forefathers. Now, if you're still thinking that the U.S. government needs to have a central bank and collect income tax or it will collapse, think again. Over 2/3 of the federal government's income is derived from sources other than income tax. There is even evidence suggesting that none of your income tax is used by the government. Fees, excise taxes, tariffs, sales taxes, and other forms of income have easily supported the U.S. budget in the past and could easily support it now. We have done without a national bank for large stretches of our history, and the U.S. Treasury is perfectly capable of printing and managing a money supply. In fact, the only constitutionally sanctioned currency is backed by gold or other precious metals. This is a far more stable form of currency and is the type of money the Treasury was designed to handle. The government was doing so well collecting money under these original laws that it had amassed a huge surplus by the time this cartoon was penned 100 years later in 1887, when there still was no income tax collected at all. Up to this point, we have shown you how the money interests have 1. Established the Federal Reserve System, and 2. Exploited a second class of citizenship created by the 14th Amendment for other purposes. And we have mentioned a few names involved in the creation of the Fed. But there are other organizations working for our economic enslavement as well, along with other extremely rich and powerful international bankers. Those who support the Fed have created a global movement to centralize economic power in various puppet organizations that preach peace and stability through some variation of socialism, but act aggressively to draw nations into a web of foreign debt and servitude to their agenda. The United Nations, the World Monetary Fund, and the Council on Foreign Relations are all committed to an agenda of world domination through manipulation of economic power. The Council on Foreign Relations openly admits to being a private club, yet it is the primary recruiting post in both international banking and the federal government of the United States. Richard Nixon, Nelson Rockefeller, John Foster Dulles, Dean Rusk, Alger Hiss, Robert S. McNamara, and every president since FDR, with the exception of John Kennedy, have been members of this exclusive club where super financiers and your elected representatives can mix freely and plan the next step in the consolidation of power in a new world order.
All right, y'all. I'm going to show y'all the Extra Life page. We will go over a little bit of that information and pertaining to the 14th Amendment citizen and a few other videos I shared with you, actually your status as a 14th Amendment citizen. If I did not do that, you can refer back to this page, which is Extraordinary Light. Let's go to the home page. Check it out. There, Extraordinary Light. This page, you can find a lot of information pertaining to law, economics, and also your social status. There are going to be videos that I'm going to share with you guys that's going to be located like at the beginning of this page. And that shares the most information. I'm actually going to be re-uploading them soon, so y'all be able to get a deep understanding of the system around you and what's truly going on. I've been exposing to y'all about the value versus debt and sharing with you information pertaining to gold versus Federal Reserve notes. So here you'll find a lot of these videos. This was the video I just shared with you, 14th Amendment slaves. And that video broke down to you what happened supposedly when the 14th Amendment was ratified, in which I do not believe it was ratified. The tone of many southern states and information that I have pulled up, they do not support the 14th Amendment. But regardless of the situation, you understand the foundation of the 14th Amendment and supposed difference between the 14th Amendment and the sovereign citizen and the people who claim to be sovereign citizens. You find a lot of information on YouTube, people who basically contest the government with that title. So there you'll find a lot of information about the straw man. If you want to know what the straw man is, this is supposed to break down what the straw man is to you guys on this page because I won't upload it back onto Uncensored Talk, Enlightenment Talk Radio. I just want to redirect y'all to here. This is more my formal page where you can find a lot of the documentaries with general information. Uncensored Enlightenment Talk is going to be focused on brown melanated people, as you see in our upliftment period. So with that goes to say here, this is my more diverse page where we have just a slew of information. And here you'll find out about the People's Prosperity Accounts and kind of understand what that concept means. Declaring yourself a 14th Amendment citizen and taking citizenship or being birthed into the system, you never know, you don't really understand what you have been birthed into. So here, this channel will be able to show you. So you have, I have mixed some other videos in there, but here the People's Prosperity Account starting from 1 all the way up, just one step at a time, will show you what's going on. Let me show you share this video with y'all, and then I'm going to show y'all. We're going to go over www.secureyourenergy.org. This video I like this video. It's short and simple, but you know how they show you a lot of stuff.
You understand politics, you think you understand political parties, you're all full of crap, you don't know what the Illuminati is, you're either Republican or you're Democrat, you're wrong! Why? It's this easy, it's called divide and conquer. That's why there's 2 parties and only 2, and they're controlled by the same people at the very top who belong to the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberger Group, they also belong to the Trilateral Commission, and you people don't even know what the hell that is. But if you did know, you would know that these are the people that control your world by making global policies that you never vote on, and by which parties both serve and belong to these organizations and control your world. Now, here's how it works. Really easy. Divide and conquer can only work if the people that are divided are not aware of the falsely created division. If you're not aware of it, then it works. If you know about it, then it don't work no more. If you have socialism without capitalism, it becomes communism. If you have capitalism without socialism, it becomes fascism. And it's just that easy.
I love you.
That's all you need to know. That's why Masonic symbols are all over your freaking money. But you don't pay attention. Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like he said, you don't pay attention. So those are some of the videos that I have on Extraordinary Light. Check out the page. It's all about growth and upliftment. I'm going to share more and more with you guys. So let's get into Secure Your Energy. I'm going to always share with you Secure Your Energy. This is actually Secure Your Energy. Little short video. I'm not even going to do a short video. Actually, I'm going to just show you the page. All right. So when you get a chance, you learn a little bit more about gold after you visit Extraordinary Light 34. I'm going to try to put the link at the bottom. Once you go there, you can go through a slew of videos. You'll get to know me, some of my things that I went through in law, and I went through with traffic tickets, you know, because I'm a really honest person. I'm very, very transparent, you know, and I see something seriously wrong going on in this system in its totality. So my job is to shed light, extraordinary light on situations, to have people use their critical thinking skills and learn as much as possible, and also to prepare yourself. So my way of sharing with you guys how to prepare yourself for your future, and I'm not talking about next week, a month from now, a year. I'm talking about generational wealth. I'm talking about stabilizing the economy of the world and basically putting gold back into your hands. This website right here that I created is called Secure Your Energy, and you will find a slew of videos that I'll break down for you real quick, in which will help you understand the current economic system, the past economic system, and where we may be leading later on. Okay, so the first video I want to show you understanding the money system is the European money system. This is talk about Caesar and the foundation of money, how it actually was created way back in the day. And that's what we need to know, the facts, the foundation. So once you know the foundation, you know what it may possibly flourish into. Inflation of American money. As I state, the inflation of American money not only affects our interest rate, but it also affects the monetary money of other countries. So ours is perceived to be inflated. And if you do know, our paperback green paper is not supported by any gold. It is basically printed off the printing press. You'll learn a lot of that watching these videos and reading, because I have some resources for you. But the perception of inflation for us actually affects other countries. And this video will break it down to you and show you and why they have why they are basically sending jobs across the market, across seas, because they can get them to work cheaper. And this is the reason why they're working cheaper. There's a reason behind that. And that's where I need people to realize, to start to think. Us as brown melanated people need to think. We need to think past our current situation. We have people talking about ADOS, getting these checks, and don't even know that you're going to get a bunch of Fed cash. And at the end of the day, if this money system collapses, when they do that, to gratify y'all, if it was to happen, then we're going to be up shit's creek without a paddle. It's called financially preparing yourself for realistically for the future. And the only way to do that is through actual, tangible, non-perishable items such as gold. And that's why I'm sharing with you guys. And if you learn more about gold, you're going to understand why I stress just to have. He who has gold has financial stability and financial power. Moving on. Money matrix, physical and human energy, and this basically teach you more about the connection of money and the petrodollar and the slavery that's connected to it, and connections to these other countries. And you can make the big connection. And this is why I stress people to research, to keep your mind open, not to be so closed-minded. We're connected to the whole world. So for you to have an approach that is all about me, what's going on, when you're actually sowing seeds into the destruction of other countries just by paying taxes, just by not paying attention to what's going on in politics and around the world, we are actually sowing seeds. So when the kids of Israel, the seed of Jah, has to face the creator, because we've been enslaved, but when we have to face the creator, you're going to say, what pacts have you made with the devil? And that's what you're going to have to face, because reality is reality. So know where you put your money at, and know where you put your energy into, okay? And that's being more involved, paying attention to what's going on, actually learning how to have self-control, separating yourself from certain entities, being picky of where you spend your money, starting your own business, saving these things, putting away more for than a rainy day. We talking about generational wealth. We got to think further. So the next video is Money Matrix, Uncle Sam. So this tells you how basically the money is printed off the printer press, and when they need a loan, it's print, and everybody get it except for us. When you watch that video, you'll be slightly entertained and a little bit upset, but it's fine, because reality allows you to prepare for the future. Okay, so the perception of wealth that you have may not be a perception of wealth. Going on to my last video on this page, value versus debt. Their value versus debt is going to explain to you basically what an asset is versus a liability. A lot of us think we have assets, but we have a bunch of liability. A car is not an asset. A house is not an asset unless you own more than one and you're able to flip and manage those houses and have a profit. That's when it's an asset. Okay. Just had to share that with you guys. And many other things are not assets that you think. They're just basically things that you have around you that don't gain value and don't do anything for your future. So to my people who like to read, I went on to share information from the Foundation of Economic Education. There you will find the original website, and you can find the full article. I don't have the full article uploaded here, but it has great information. It gives you the foundation of gold and silver, the money of the Constitution, what originally was set up for in America's eyes. And then you can move on and go on and read a little bit more how they separate the gold from the money. Why the gold should be separated from the government. So once you learn about it, once you go through the videos and you learn about gold, you'll know who got the gold and why we don't got the gold, and what happened and how they took it. So that right there will give you some more information. So it's kind of like system. I got it kind of in a nice order for you guys to just learn. Right here you'll find a 4-minute information about gold, a little bit more. The people who are not inclined to read, you can watch this video. And also this video right here will teach you about gold versus Federal Reserve notes, and that'll give you a comprehensive understanding or a visual of the difference between holding Federal Reserve notes and holding gold for a couple of years, and see who ended up at the top. So that video right there give you a nice comprehensive review of that mathematically. And right here is getting to know K-Bars. It's an introductory video about the product, about the company. And one of the things I want to tell you, all sign up is free. No one has to sign up for anything to like pay for. When you sign up, you'll have access to some of the videos to watch, more than these, giving you more information about it. Also, K-Bars is gold gold is to put the gold back into people, the 99% hand. And we do this through being an agent. K-Bars, we are agents of change and growth. So what they do to reward people like me who just share information with you, who really don't have to purchase nothing, because I didn't have to purchase nothing, and I started to receive points and credits just by sharing and having you guys sign up and learn about it. And when you sign up, you don't have to use your credit card, you don't have to use anything. But when you go to purchase Go, of course, you have to have credible resources, and they also have anti-laundering laws. So you got to have some type of real income coming in. This is a secure company, and where the goal is to put gold back in people's hands. Okay, so what that goes to say, there you can go down to the last page and you can sign up to be a gold agent, or you can buy gold today. Either way, once you sign up, you can and don't have to purchase anything. Either way, you sign up and you can surf the website. You can surf the website and learn about the products and things like that before you even do anything. So as I say, thank you guys for actually taking the time and watching that video with me. I know you learned a little bit more about the 14th Amendment citizen. We're going to continue to share that information on Uncensored Enlightenment Talk Radio to open your eyes to realize what's going on, because we got a lot of people out there just talking shit. They just talking because they know surface stuff. And we have to stop knowing surface stuff. You have to know that you have been taught by your colonizers. It's sad to say that, but you have been taught by your colonizers. Unless you have self-taught yourself, then I ain't talking to you. But I'm talking about people who don't open the book, people who just hear stuff, see stuff, and just think that's the reality. You're being programmed, and there's more than what you see. Okay, guys? So one of the things, my main focus is to allow our people to be well-rounded, use critical thinking, and also prepare for your future, because you have people that's preparing for their future and your future, and you don't even know it. I want to definitely leave y'all with this perspective. We have a lot of people thinking that they're doing really well because they can buy shoes, they can go to the club, they can chill. But the reality is 30 to 60 days without working for the man or somebody else, you will be in a hole. You will be in a hole. And a lot of us will be in that situation, and that's reality. But people don't think like that. You're interdependent on a system that may not be stable. I'll be sharing a lot more information with you guys pertaining to the instability and what's going on, and also sharing through enlightenment documentaries to teach you about who you are, and basically in heightening that God seed within you, because we have that, but it's dormant. It's dormant because the food we're eating, because the thoughts we're having, because of all of the confusion. And once we're able to slow down and pay attention to reality, and definitely stop indulging in the things that are distractions and that's not of Yahweh, I definitely know that, of God, the most creator. If it don't feel right, it ain't right. These are the times to realize that. If you don't go to church, you don't have no religion, I'm down with you. But right is right, wrong is wrong. Behaviors are behaviors. So I need y'all to be aware. Share love, share light, share encouragement. I say, and I stress to my people, try to open a business. Try to open your own avenue of something. Whatever, you have creativity, you have something in you that people can utilize. It just takes you to be consistent. It takes you to have a plan, to write it, to take pen to paper and take your time. Sometimes you have to separate. In the love and the light of Nipsey Hussle, because we have lost definitely a light worker, through his ambiance and through everything that he has been represented through other entities right now, is like a light of business, love, family, unity, cleanliness, and godliness. And I take those things and run with it, and I share with you. So everybody stay up. Thank you for tuning in today. And if you would like to see that video again, I'll share a description. Extraordinary Light 34. Extraordinary Life 34. Jump on the channel. There you'll learn more information pertaining to who you are. It's more uniform. They'll also break down the system to you and basically how you're used as a surety for the bond and the debt of the United States, and that the money that they're using, they're actually using it for bad stuff, and you're playing a part in it, not knowing what's going on and being distracted. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you the truth. Ain't no lying. Sorry. Anyway, have a blessed one. Thank you for tuning in.